Ladies and gentlemen, the CTDF Fantasy Football Show is on the air once again. And folks, this is it. This is the big one. We started way back in late March of this last year with the scouting combine. Then we had the NFL draft. Then we had the OTAs. We had the mini camps. Had a little month-long break, about a month, give or take a couple of weeks or two. Then we had training camp. Then we had 4 weeks of preseason. Well, 5 weeks if you counted the 2 teams that played in the Hall of Fame game. Then we had 17 weeks of the regular season, where 32 teams started this journey. Then 12 of those teams made the playoffs. We had wild card weekend, which was pretty darn wild. Then we had our division championships. Then we had the conference championships 2 weeks ago. And now here we are. We are on the precipice of Super Bowl 54. Coming to us from Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. It is the San Francisco 49ers versus the Kansas City Chiefs. We got a big show today. We got lots to talk about. We will eventually get to our Super Bowl picks. But first, if my nose will stop itching, my name is Tim McClellan. This guy over here, no, down here, down here, our 2-time defending champion, Will Medina.
Make it 6.
Woohoo.
Over here, our good friend, the host of Hooked on Sports on Spotify, Mr. John Flynn.
Howdy, 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 everybody. Super Bowl 54 is here, and I'm ready to roll.
All right. Nice supporting that Danny Dimes jersey you got there. Show it off to everybody. Go ahead, show it off, buddy.
And this is actually the retro jersey that I got. So it's like the color rush jersey that the Giants wear. They did the throwback road uniforms from the 80s.
Not bad at all. And of course, down here, our good friend from Baton Rouge, Louisiana, representing the Who Dat Nation, always faithful, Mr. Cedric Witherspoon Jr. How you doing?
I'm doing good.
All right, guys. We have got a lot to talk about, so I say we go ahead and get started. First of all, let's do a little refresher of what happened a couple weeks ago. We had the conference championships, which were very, very entertaining, I might say. We had the Tennessee Titans against the Kansas City Chiefs. Myself and Flynn went with the Chiefs. Marty and Cedric over here went for the Titans. But somehow the Chiefs pulled it off. So, the Chiefs are in it, AFC champions, and their first Super Bowl in 50 years.
It's so crazy that the Chiefs have fielded so many good teams throughout the years, especially in the 90s, and then a little bit toward the end of the start of the decade, then through all the Andy Reid years, and it took till this year to make it to the Super Bowl. It took some guy named Patty Mahomes to take them to the promised land.
That's right, Patrick Mahomes Jr. from Texas Tech University by way of White House High School in White House, Texas, which, if I'm not mistaken, is about a little more or less than an hour drive from where I live. Number 15 in your playbook, number 1 in your heart. So, the Chiefs pulled it off. And the 49ers, Will, your 49ers really did the job against Green Bay. So obviously, and
Uh,
obviously here, everybody knew something that I didn't because I was the only one that picked Green Bay. 'Cause I
and,
was,
and among the six of us who put picks in, Will and I went 2-0. Everybody else went 1-1.
yeah, not bad,
Actually,
not
Go
bad.
Chiefs.
I tried to tell you a couple of weeks ago, Tim, like how lethal that 49ers defense is, and everything I told you, what the Packers need to do, they did not do it, and they went back to their old ways when they had that blowout loss on Sunday Night Football back in November.
Yeah, well, yeah, y'all got me on that one. So, and that will take us to Super Bowl 54. But I'll tell you what, just to keep a little bit of suspense for all you people watching us out there, I want to go on a different subject right now. We got a special event coming up this Saturday night. There's something called the NFL Honors. This is basically a show which presents the postseason awards here. And I got a list right here. Let me get y'all guys' opinions on this one. Let's start with. Oh boy, there's a lot of them here. We'll start. We'll start with the most important ones. How about the AP Comeback Player of the Year? Flynn, who do you think you got for this one?
I think if I were to put my vote in right now, I would absolutely put in the name of Ryan Tannehill. What an unbelievable story the Tennessee Titans were this year, and everyone thought the Titans season was over. Even myself included, a believer in Mike Vrabel, said that then Ryan Tannehill comes in and Tennessee goes 7-3 the rest of the season. They sneak into the playoffs as Derrick Henry takes into the playoffs. But Ryan Tannehill was fantastic. Like, yeah, he was probably the second best quarterback in the NFL since he took over behind Lamar Jackson, and he was and he did everything right for Mike Vrabel's team this year.
Interesting, interesting. I usually didn't have a lot of faith around Tannehill, but
It's,
I guess he found his. I guess they started clicking over in Tennessee, and
and Adam Gase had no idea what he was doing with him down in Miami, and so the Dolphins trade him to Tennessee, and then Miami brings in Ryan Fitzpatrick. They trade for Josh Rosen, and you look at where Miami is now, and now you look at where Tennessee was.
yeah, yeah, I give a tip of the hat to old Ryan Tannehill. Of course, I could call him Ryan Tanna, not quite over the hill yet, because obviously there's still a lot of life left in him. Will, Cedric, y'all got any thoughts?
I guess I'll go next.
Go for it, Will.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say Ryan Tannehill. Flynn made a point, but my pick is gonna go for another quarterback who went 5-0, got injured in week 3 versus your Kansas City Chiefs, Tim, and now battle for the number 1, Jimmy Garoppolo. Look what he has done. Who would have thought you're leaving a New England organization to branch out on your own? 5-0, your first 5 starts. Week 3, non-contact injury versus Kansas City. You leave the team in the hands of Nick Mullins. Okay, I'll give him his just
Nicky
due, but
freaking Mullins.
what can I say? Now that Jimmy G's back, 15-3, we got the hot boys, our linebackers, but we'll get into that later. But I think Jimmy Garoppolo basically is like right now the most energetic quarterback this season, and this will be his first Super Bowl on his own. So my pick is going to be Jimmy G. Garoppolo himself.
Yeah, that's who I was. That's who I was going for. Yeah, 5-0 in his first 5 games with the Niners. Then early the next season, he gets a season-ending injury. He comes back and leads his team to a Super Bowl appearance.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cedric, what you got?
Well, it was tough between two QBs that surprised me. Tannehill, I thought he was going to be lost in the sauce of Miami. Went to Tennessee, got resurrected, and almost just that one hurdle he couldn't get just to get to the Super Bowl, and that was the Chiefs. Got the Eagles, just Mike Graver didn't sacrifice. He said he was going to chop off there. They got it and get that far. Jesus Christ. But I picked Jimmy G. Like Will said, like Will said, Jimmy G. He started 5-0 his first season out for the San Francisco. Then he got injured the year before, and then this year he was a monster. He did like his girlfriend did, screwed every single defense up with his freaking accuracy. And he had bullet chamber. He had more than six in the chamber. You had Matt Breida. You had Tevin Combs. His defense, well, for the San Francisco organization, Jesus, they're monsters. Nick Bosa just. But back to comeback of the year, Jimmy G. That's my pick.
Yeah, interesting. Uh, Let me ask you guys this question here. I think they asked this question on First Take earlier this morning. The question was, if Jimmy G wins this Super Bowl, will the Patriots kick themselves?
Kick themselves.
I
I thought there was more to the question. I thought there was more to the question. I was like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, yeah. Well, the question is, will the Patriots kick themselves for letting Jimmy G go?
I'll
no
answer that
because
first. I'll go first
There
on
you
this one. I'm gonna make this short and sweet. Sorry. Yes, because
go.
look what's happening to New England organization now. They went from a number one defense in the AFC to being beat by Flint's favorite quarterback. And right now, they barely have a running game, which was minimal. So, with that said, sorry, Mark. Um, their receivers were utter trash. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
And most of all, Tom Brady threw more interceptions this season than his last three seasons combined. If you look at the numbers, I mean, this is the Tom Brady
Yeah.
decline. And I don't care what Max Kellerman said. He could talk about a cliff. This is just a decline. So, yes, the Patriots have more than just kicking themselves. They let a backup turn into basically my not just my pick for a comeback player of the year, but somebody they should have invested in and they fucked up. Excuse my French, but that's true.
Sadly, yes. All right. My piece, yeah, they're gonna kick themselves. Here's why. They had not one but two possible backups in Jacob Brissett and Jimmy G. Will already said
Yeah.
Jimmy G. He's a baller, and he's about to get that ring. Jacob Brissett, I say give him another year or two, and the Colts are going to be in there. They're showing signs of life. They're just not getting over that 50%, that 500. And y'all fools took in the old, the brittle, the infamous Tuck Rule King, who likes to deflate more balls than
Oh,
most
here
girls
we
I've
go.
seen up in the back of Louisiana take. I know that's besides the point, but still, Bill Belichick, he lost a step. Offense was trash. I mean, you have two running backs, and you still can't get a running game. I mean, yeah, I know their skills are trash, but still, damn, defense was horrendous. To the point you got a wild card game and you get smacked up by Tennessee. And you know how a certain number one ranked team goes out in a whimper? Tennessee Titans game. Last play, Brady throws a pick six. I mean, Brady went from like top tier to almost Jameis Winston level. You get that quick. And apparently
Ouch!
it's Winston.
Ouch! Hey, Jameis Winston level. That's
I
cold.
mean, come on. You've seen the games. You know them, right? Because
That's
nobody goes from like down there.
no.
Jeez.
And you add to the fact that Tom Brady is most likely going to be leaving the Boston area.
Yep.
So
They
now
got
who they
Pittsburgh
got?
out of trouble.
Who they got now?
So, but
If Brett,
I do want to make one point. So the Patriots traded Jimmy Garoppolo, and they got a second round pick in return. But the Patriots were able to convert their second round pick to a lot of different draft picks. I think that can help in the future. But the reason I can't say they can't kick themselves in the butt because even after the Jimmy G trade, the Patriots made it to back-to-back Super Bowls. Heck, they won a Super Bowl last year, and probably as probably weaker roster as a Patriots Super Bowl winning team has had. And yet they were still able to win championships because they decided to keep Tom Brady, and Brady played lights out during that Super Bowl championship run last year. I know what you Will and you Shedrick are saying in terms of like the long term, but the Patriots already cashed in.
rebuttal
Alright.
that one, Tim. I'm gonna rebuttal John for a second. Okay, so they won
Go
back-to-back
for it.
Super Bowls. You're right. No one's gonna dispute
It's
that.
like they made it to back Super Bowls. They lost one to Philly in between.
Yeah, but my
Yeah.
question is, if you don't have a Bill Belichick, if you don't have a Tom Brady, and you don't have one of the best offensive coordinators in Josh McDaniels, what do the Patriots have left? Brian Hoyer? Who the hell is he? Come on now.
Rob,
Just another one of those quarterbacks that came out of Cleveland.
yeah.
Oh, not Cleveland. You know that's the city where dreams go to die. Damn. They
It's not-
got freaking no.
They got Kevin
I'll save that for
Stefanski from the
after.
Vikings.
All right.
Oh,
Well,
it's bad. Oh, it's
getting
bad.
back to the
Yeah.
NFL honors. How about offensive rookie of the year? Glenn, who do you think you got on that one?
This was actually a pretty darn good rookie class in terms of offensive playmakers. You got Kyler Murray, Deebo Samuel, and AJ Brown and Darius Slayton. But I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs of the Oakland Raiders for this one. That he led all NFL rookies in rushing. That he led all NFL rookies in rushing touchdowns, I believe, and he really creates a dynamic that's going to be conducive to potential Raiders successes in Las Vegas, and I thought the Raiders had overachieved this season. I thought the Raiders were going to be the laughing stock of the league. I thought they were going to be a disaster, but I think the Raiders actually made some really big progress this year, and Josh Jacobs is a big reason why. But this was a very talented rookie class this year.
Interesting. Almost forgot about him. Will Cedric.
Oh wow. The only thing I can think of right now in my mind is I want to go Josh Jacobs. I really wanted to, but my problem is, has Josh Jacobs did enough to get this award? And my camera's messing up, so Tim may have to have me back.
It's all right.
So I'm gonna have to go Kyler Murray right here, as much as it hurts. He's
He'll be bad. All right. So in my case,
Oh,
it's between Kyler Murray or Josh Jacobs.
hold on there, Cedric.
Oh, it's Will
We
Silver
get
done?
we get Will to unmute his mic. Somehow he's gotten in here twice.
Hmm.
Okay. All right. Unmute your mic. Go ahead and unmute
okay.
your mic. There you go.
Sorry. I like Jacobs, but I'm gonna have to go Kyler Murray. Here's the numbers: 37, 22, 16, and 8. I mean, nobody really had a choice in my opinion, to really look into what Kyler Murray has done. I mean, Arizona is basically Larry Fitzgerald's team. But when you add this much production coming from a Kyler Murray with those numbers, why not? Now, if it's a running back perspective, yes, I would agree with John that it would be Jacobs over Saquon Barkley or whoever else is on the list. But I have to give it to Kyler here. I mean, he's going to his second year. You're not Lamar Jackson. You're not Deshaun Watson, but you'll get your act together. But my pick's going to be Kyler Murray.
Okay, I'll tip my hat to Kyler Murray.
You make an interesting point on Kyler Murray that I won't be surprised if Kyler Murray in a year or two from now is in a position that Patty Mahomes and Deshaun Watson are in, being a dynamic playmaking quarterback with running abilities and ability to beat opposing defenses in different ways. And I think Arizona can do some special things in the next couple of years.
Yeah, but I forgot, Tim. There's one other number that benefits Kyler Murray from the other quarterbacks. He's thrown less interceptions than I thought the league would count him out for. So basically, he's not dynamic as people give him credit for, but I would give him another year and then he'll be a lot better than he was.
And also the fact that too, Cliff Kingsbury now has a year of NFL head coaching experience under his belt as well, so that only adds to benefit the team.
Yeah. Cedric, you got to pick for your offensive rookie of the year.
Well, to quote a certain guy off of YouTube, "Are you bigger than a fifth grader?" Kyler Murray has surprised me. I mean, he wasn't going to make too much headway because, I mean, you get saddled with the Arizona Cardinals franchise. So, yeah, you're already starting off one hurdle. I'm saying that because the Arizona Cardinals try to get at least over the edge, but, like, yeah. But Kyler Murray, I say give him a year or two. He's going to be really, like, up there with Mahomes, Watson, and many other QBs. Not Winston. But besides the point, Kyler Murray, because he made a lot of moves happen. He made a lot of things happen. So Kyler Murray, because all others, don't think they're gonna top Murray. They're not.
Well, that's very interesting points right there, gentlemen. Well, my pick will obviously not win Rookie of the Year for the league, but okay, I admit it. I'm a homer. I'm a homer. Okay, my pick, if I was going to pick one, would be Tony Pollard. Tony Pollard
Wait.
from the Dallas Cowboys. Well,
Oh Lord!
he had. Well,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
he's not
No,
going to win the
continue, Tim.
award, but I mean, 86 touches for
We're not laughing at
455
that.
yards, 2 touchdowns, average 5.3 yards a carry.
Okay.
Okay, Josh Jacobs ran for 3 times that amount.
Well, yeah, I'll give you John Jacob on that, but I know. I think I've just embarrassed myself in front of everybody here with my pick here.
Flynn, just John Flynn. Look, I want you to look at the guy to your left in camera verse. Don't let the Kansas City Chiefs jersey fool you. You know he's a Cowboys fan.
I know.
I don't blame him for that.
Everybody knows
Let
that.
the man dream. Let the man dream, okay? It may not happen, but you know what? This is NFL honest. You don't know what in the world's gonna happen. But if it pops up like that, Tim, if it does, let me know and I'll send you $20. If it does happen, I'll send you $20 in my own pocket. I will do it.
Well, I'll say
continue.
basically, I'll say the same thing like Will said about Kyler Murray. Give Tony Pollard maybe a couple more years, and he could be a real steady backup. So that's all I got to say about that. Defensive Rookie of the Year. What do you say, Flynn?
So my preseason pick was Devin Bush, and I thought he had a really good season. But I gotta go with Nick Bosa here of the 49ers. He was an absolute train wreck this year. When I say game changer, impact player, what John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan saw in the draft, with him being the best defensive player in the draft. It was totally Nick Bosa the entire way. He's a big reason the Niners are playing in Super Bowl 54. I'm rolling with Nick Bosa.
Very, very interesting. Will, would you say Bosa?
Of course.
Yeah.
Look what he did in Week 5 at home versus Cleveland. He got his revenge on Baker Mayfield. For those who don't know, the 2016 or 17 plant flag at Oklahoma or Ohio State, whatever happened there, I missed the game. But yes, I mean, because we knew the Niners were not going to take Kyler Murray at number 2. Let's get that straight. Niners were not going to take another quarterback.
And he was already gone at number 1 anyway, so they couldn't anyway.
Arizona did not have the fortitude to take Bosa because they needed a future quarterback. Arizona went through so many quarterbacks. Let's get that straight. So Bosa, his numbers pretty much tell me that this is what the Niners needed. And I told this to Marty and Jason that Niners need constructive defense. Good pick by John Lynch and Kyle Shanahan here. Hands down, Nick Bosa. And rumor has it his brother Joey Bosa may come to the Niners next year. So if we get the Bosa brothers to San Francisco, we're going to be scary as shit.
That would be crazy.
Oh, yeah. Oh, boy. Both Bosa brothers in San Francisco. Wow.
And Joey Bosa was my preseason pick for Defensive Player of the Year, but I have someone else in mind for that award.
Yeah, go ahead, Cedric.
Well, if both brothers, if future do be on San Francisco, I fear for every running back or any wide receiver that gonna come near them, they will die, or their careers, I would say. But I agree with Mr. Flynn, and I agree with Will. It is Nick Bosa because that man came, he saw, and he sacked almost every QB's ass at least once. At least once. The man's a monster. Every time I hear Nick Bosa with a sack, it's like, here it goes. But for real, Nick Bosa, Defensive Rookie of the Year, that man came to play. And that man pretty much leading the defense. And that's why San Francisco's number 1 in the NFC, I would say. And they may be odds-on favorites to winning the Super Bowl this year.
Well, you could probably say that about Nick Bosa. Vini, Vidi, Vici. I came, I saw, I conquered. That definitely describes Nick Bosa. So I could definitely give a big tip of the hat to Nick Bosa for my Defensive Rookie of the Year. Now, how about the overall Offensive Player of the Year?
Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm since Cedric and John they're withered here, I guess I'll go first. And it's no question here. I mean, sorry, Natalie. I'm sorry, you're not here. That's what I'm about to say. But explosively, steadily, and fast as a ninja, my offensive player of the year is Lamar Madden Code 2K20 Jackson. What has this guy done that nobody else has? Guy can scope the defense. This guy got scary eyes when you got 2-3 people running at him, and he pretty much beat a Patriots team that were going on the decline as far as their defense is concerned. This guy's a damn Madden Code. What else can I say?
That's
Unless there's other people's opinion, I'm going to go with Lamar LJ8 himself, Lamar Jackson.
Interesting. Cedric, Flynn.
So the field for this is actually pretty competitive when you look at it because I think because the numbers are staggering for Lamar Jackson. So, but I'm torn apart between Michael Thomas and Christian McCaffrey for this award because both of them have been tremendous. That McCaffrey set some records like in receptions by running back in a season, and he had all the touchdowns and all the rushing yards to go with it. But I'm going to give you my case for Michael Thomas, and Michael Thomas set the single season receptions record with what is it, 145 or so receptions this season. That's just unheard of, and just him being consistent. Like if the eight catches for 8 catches was a given a week in, a week out, even with two different quarterbacks. I really wanted to take McCaffrey because I had McCaffrey in my other fantasy league, but Michael Thomas was just sensational this season, so I'm going to go with Michael Thomas.
Also a nice pick. Lamar Jackson, Michael Thomas. They're both credible. Cedric, who you got?
4 picks, 4 people that came to mind. 1, and this is not in any order, Michael Thomas. The man, they can't guard him. They can't guard him. He's breaking reception records left and right. Number 2, Patrick Mahomes, the fact with dislocated patella, came back in like it was nothing. Ain't missed a step. Sorry, Chris McCaffrey, like John Flynn said, the man basically was carrying the whole Panthers nation on his back and still kept running. I don't know how his back not broke apart because of that. And last, but definitely not least, the human cheat code part 2, because part 1 was Mahomes because he's throwing everything downfield. He's saying in his head, somebody down there, fuck it. But Lamar Jackson, the man can run, the man can pass, and the man is breaking ankles more than Michael Jordan used to do up in basketball on the court. Except in the field, you break your ankle, it's going to hurt. So those are the 4 for Offensive Player of the Year. That's my 4.
I could go for any one of those, but I'll throw in 2 other guys. I'll throw in Derrick Henry and maybe George Kittle.
That's an interesting selection, but I don't think Kittle's going to win the award, though.
Mm-mm. Oh. As much as me being a Niner fan, when Kittle went down for a couple of games, I don't think that's going to solidify himself to be in there.
And I think that's the same reason why I don't think Patty Mahomes will win the Offensive Player of the Year either.
Yeah, that's what came to mind. So I was thinking probably out of Kittle or Henry, probably Henry would get it probably better than him. Don't know if he's going to get it, but don't count out Derrick Henry.
Now, if there was a running back award for the season, Derrick Henry hands down.
Yeah,
it would have been McCaffrey because the NFL voters vote after the end of the regular season, so they don't take into account the playoffs and Derrick Henry, as good as he was in the playoffs, it wouldn't have mattered. So I definitely, if it was running back, I definitely would have been Christian McCaffrey this year.
All right. Okay, Flynn, we're now going to Defensive Player of the Year.
So, and Nick Bosa was actually on my short list of candidates for Defensive Player of the Year, and so, but I just can't. I mean, how could you pick the thing against Stephon Gilmore of the New England Patriots cornerback, and that he had about as good a season a cornerback has had in at least the 15 years I've been following the National Football League. That lockdown coverage, well coached, well disciplined corner, and he won pretty much every big mismatch up until week 17 against Miami. It was a gruesome looking touchdown coverage, but other than that, he was just dominant all season, and he was a big reason why the Patriots defense was as good as it was this year.
Not bad, not bad. Stephon Gilmore. That's an interesting choice. Will, who you got?
I mean, I look at all the choices here, but I'm gonna have to go Stephon Gilmore himself. I mean, he led the league in interceptions. This guy could do cover 2, 3, or 4. He's very dynamic on the field, and he has pretty much said, in my eyes, what can I not do that other corners can't do? And it pretty much speaks for itself. And yeah, I'm gonna go Stephon Gilmore here, hands down.
Yeah. Cedric, you got anybody different or riding with
I only had
Gilmore?
two picks. I had two picks. It was between Stephon Gilmore and Cam Jordan. Malcolm Butler, but that was before now. It's between Gilmore and Jordan, and I hate to say it, me being a Saints fan, but Gilmore, he did a lot more. I mean, Jordan, he got his sacks, but Gilmore, despite the Patriots defense lacking. So I'm gonna go with Gilmore.
Yeah. So, and also on my short list too, along with Gilmore, I had Bosa, I had Nick Bosa, I had T.J. Watt and Chandler Jones. Oh, that was my short list for this award.
Hmm. Oh, interesting.
Oh, and also Shaquem Garrett as well of Tampa. I guess because of the season he had.
All right, I can see that. Okay. How about AP Coach of the Year?
You
Oh,
already know who Will's picking.
I actually, this was such a good year for coaching, and you can make the case for Mike Tomlin. You can make the case for Sean Payton after Drew Brees went down. You can make the case for Doug Peterson. You can make the case um, uh, for Pete Carroll. You can make the case for Bill Belichick, John Harbaugh. You can make the case for um, you can make the case for a lot of different coaches this year, but I think Kyle Shanahan really distinguished himself from the rest with the patchwork of running backs and receivers, and then and the benefit of having George Kittle, he did a great job developing Debu Samuel, Raheem Mostert. This team plays at such a high level, and he has the staff in place that got him there. Robert Saleh was a tremendous as a defensive coordinator, and I think he could play a big role on Sunday. But I got to go with Kyle Shanahan. In a year of so many good coaching performances, I think Kyle Shanahan stood out for the rest.
That actually was the first name that came to my mind. I'd probably go with Shanahan with Coach of the Year. Uh,
Also, another name that I would have thrown out there is Sean McDermott of Buffalo.
okay, yeah, I can see that. I can see that. See Sean McDermott, but Kyle Shanahan, and how Mike Tomlin was able to handle all the injuries and getting all those replacement players in there. Same thing with Doug Peterson.
My Tomlin was actually my preseason pick.
Uh huh. So I guess we don't have to ask Will who he thinks the coach of the year is because we pretty much named him.
Just pass to
Yeah,
Cedric.
Okay.
Okay.
thank you. All right, there was three three in my mind because they really showed up what they had to do. First would be Mike Vrabel, Marcus Mariota, in comes Ryan Tannehill, thriving, Derrick Henry, and many of the key players in their offense and defense thriving. And Mike Vrabel, he trolled Bill Belichick in that first wild card game. I was laughing my ass off when that happened. Boy. Number two, Kyle Shanahan. Because again, San Francisco, they came. He picked up Nick Bosa. That pretty much gave the 49ers a 13-3 season. Now 15-3, possibly 16-3 coming this Sunday, which I will be drinking to at my grandparents' house. And last but not least, I would say Sean Payton because after Drew Brees got taken down due to the Rams defense taken out his hands, Bridgewater stepped up and went straight flawless. And then Taysom Hill too, the Army Swiss knife of the Saints position, Saints organization, playing special teams, freaking trick plays like crazy. I'm like, damn, Sean, how much more you got left in the tank? You still ain't got enough ring? You only got one. I want the second one before Brees retires. Get Bridgewater up there or Taysom Hill. But out those three, the only one that strikes me up as really taking it over the top, realistically, Kyle Shanahan. Not saying Sean Payton, but I'm gonna say Kyle Shanahan. Realistically, would win it.
So I guess all of us are going with Kyle Shanahan. Great job for him. Good luck to him in the Super Bowl. Now the big one, league MVP.
Oh,
Okay, I think the moment the Ravens clinched the 1 seed in the AFC, I think that solidified the case for Lamar Jackson, and Lamar is such a stud. That he was so crucial to getting Baltimore to the 1 seed, and this is where it didn't have any list at all. It was going to be Lamar Jackson. It was always going to be him. Yeah, he had an amazing season in terms of like how efficient Baltimore's offense was. Yeah, Lamar Jackson, league MVP.
Lamar Jackson. Hey, Will, who you got for MVP?
You know what? You can put a point up there for Russell Wilson. You can put a point up there for Christian McCaffrey, who single-handedly carried that Panthers team because they still don't got receivers. But
Yeah. But if Seattle won the division, they had the 1 seed. I would have picked Russell Wilson.
yes, but not taking it away from what he's done in the regular season. Too bad they got routed by the Titans, but hands down, what he has in the pocket, his running presence, pocket presence, uh, it's going to be Lamar Jackson because, again, like I stated, he is a Madden code. You don't know where he's going. He could read defensive lines like a poet does to a notebook. Lamar Jackson, that's it. Simple.
Cedric, you agree with Jackson?
basically, league MVP was down to two people, but because one person got hurt, said the other who was the only time ever got sat out of game was when he had the rest, which was kind of a fatal thing to do against the Titans because that offense of the Ravens against the Titans, you saw so much of misconceptions and miscues. It's like I was watching a botch match on WWE Raw. It's not even funny, but I digress. Lamar Jackson is like Pat Mahomes. He is the human cheat code, except here's the thing. Lamar Jackson's got a lot more tricks in his bag than Mahomes. So Jackson, league MVP, hands down. I'm sorry, nothing else. That's all I can say. It's realistically, it's Lamar Jackson. I can't. It's just too much.
Oh, well, it'll be interesting to see. I can see Lamar Jackson taking MVP, seeing his whole body of work this past season, how he got the Baltimore Ravens back to the playoffs, and I think the sky's the limit for that young kid.
Somewhere in his career, they're going to get a Super Bowl out of him. It's either next year or the year after. If you go 4
I,
years in this,
I, because I think Lamar has the talent to get there, but but I think what's missing from Lamar is that he needs to learn how to be a pocket passer because some of his play calling against Tennessee of John Harbaugh's play calling against Tennessee was so predictable that you have to be able to throw the ball out of the pocket the only that not a single time has a mobile quarterback that's relied on his legs to win a Super Bowl. And the closest to that was Russell Wilson when Seattle won 6 years ago. But that Super Bowl was won by that dominant defense. So
and without the dominant defense, you're pretty much out of luck.
yeah,
Yeah.
But and then also had Jackson like been more of a pocket passer. But then the reason why he couldn't be a pocket passer, also the receivers was dropping more balls than the whole boys going through puberty at a Boy Scout convention. I mean, come on, that's unreal. And I blame that on three things: they underestimated the Titans, they rested too much instead of working a lot more and playing. At least let them play a quarter. Get their bodies moving, get their muscles coordinated, so that way they can catch.
yeah,
And three, damn, they
yeah,
punched Lamar Jackson in the mouth, in the chest, all over. Because I'd never seen Lamar Jackson get stuffed that much.
yeah.
But I digress. We continue on.
Yeah, definitely. Yep. We'll see everything that happens. NFL Honors, I believe, is on Fox, if I'm not mistaken.
As is the Super Bowl.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Fox will have NFL Honors Saturday night.
and then the Super Bowl Sunday night at
And
5:30.
then, yes, what a great segue. It's now time to talk about the big game. Let's talk about this, people. Super Bowl 54, San Francisco 49ers, Kansas City Chiefs, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida, South Beach. The Chiefs are only 1.5 point favorites in this game, and they have the over under at 54.5.
That's an interesting over under. That's very interesting.
Oh, the bookies are gonna have a field day with this.
Yeah, but I think it's gonna wind up being a tremendous game, and my first thought was when Chiefs made or Chiefs took down Tennessee. It was like I was so happy for Andy Reid. I'm so happy for Patty Mahomes. Getting to the promised land after breaking like a 50-year curse of seeing all this futility and seeing the Chiefs fans react and I want to make a couple of things. Tennessee in the first part of that game like did exactly what they needed to do. They needed to establish the run, but I just mean Patty Mahomes couldn't get denied, and that 27-yard touchdown run, but before the end of the first half, not only like flipped the script of that game, and I thought Kansas City was going to win the game after that touchdown, but that's one of the greatest runs I've ever seen from a quarterback and let alone a playoff game. He took that by storm, and it was up there for runs like Steve Young and John Elway back in the day. That was a special moment for Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how that boy was able to stay in bounds on that run, but he did. He had great concentration and took it all the way to the house.
I remember Kansas City had 2 timeouts left, so he could afford to stay in bounds because it was like 30 seconds left, and Kansas City had 2 timeouts left. So even if he was tackled in bounds, the Chiefs still had 2 timeouts to use. So that was why he was smart and stayed in bounds.
Yep.
All right. So, Flynn, going with you, buddy.
So you having me on the you having me on the spot?
Yep. It's your turn. Give us
Yeah.
your pick. What do you say?
Yes, so like I've actually had this locked in for a while now, but and I think so when you look at Patty Mahomes and what he's been able to do, that he's been absolutely sensational in and not only finding different ways to beat up other defense over the years, but he's also been so transcendent into how the position has evolved, and he's bound to be the next $200 million quarterback. And but I think what all people also need to see is that the Chiefs' defense has been outstanding since Thanksgiving. Even with a couple of rough patches against the AFC South teams at Arrowhead last couple of weeks, but it was the Chiefs that were able to really turn it on. And I think Kansas City's defense, top to bottom, has really turned it around. And my biggest issue with Kansas City preseason and why I didn't pick the Chiefs to go to the Super Bowl preseason was their defense, how Frank Clark would fit in, how Tyrann Mathieu had filled in. Both of them were big time factors on Championship Sunday. But now on to the 49ers, and we can look at Jimmy Garoppolo, we can look at George Kittle, but I think the 49ers defense, the way they're constructed, uh, the they are the best defense that Patty Mahomes has ever seen in the NFL, and they've found different ways to win games. They can win any style of fight, and we said this when they took down Minnesota. I picked the Niners to win and cover against Minnesota. Sorry, Nels. Oops. Um, and then I told you the Niners were going to beat Minnesota. I told you the Niners were going to blow out the Packers. And so with all things considered, this is the stat that really drove me toward my pick. So in the previous 15 seasons, there were six teams that entered the Super Bowl with 55 or more sacks leading up to the Super Bowl. That they all won. The '05 Steelers, the '07 Giants, the '08 Steelers, the 2011 Giants, the 2015 Broncos, and I believe the other team was the 20. But the other team I believe was the 2017 Eagles. And so they were 6-0 in that. It's going to be 7-0. The seventh team, the San Francisco 49ers. That's right, America. That's right, Patty Mahomes. That's right, Adam Shine picking Kansas City preseason to win the Super Bowl. I think this is Kyle Shanahan's world. This is Jimmy Garoppolo. All he does is win, and I am going to pick the 49ers. Niners 30, Chiefs 27, George Kittle, Super Bowl MVP.
Very, very interesting there. So we got Flynn taking the Niners 30-27. Kittle with the MVP. Uh, Will, we're going to save you for last. Let's go to Cedric.
Hoo-wee. This game here is going to decide on whose defense falters first. Defense of the 49ers, it's near unstoppable, but it does have a chink in the armor somewhere. If the Chiefs offense can find it, they will exploit it and they will go all in for it. I'm the type of guy, it's like I want to root for the team that may not have a chance, but they might do it. And this is a team that's been waiting 50 long years to taste another Super Bowl ring. And this is also Andy Reid's chance to not blow it. So as long as the following thing does not happen to a certain coach of the Kansas City Chiefs offense, I thought it would work and say don't choke in reverse, but no, the camera says screw you. But my pick is the Chiefs over the 49ers, but my God, it's going to be close. 34-31, Bucker with a game-winning field goal with 5 seconds left on the clock.
And who is your MVP? Super Bowl MVP.
Super Bowl MVP.
Yep.
Ooh. Either Mahomes on the Chiefs side or Jimmy G of San Francisco. Whoever wins, that's my pick. Because QB is going to rule that one.
Yep. I basically saw this the exact same way as Cedric sees it. I mean, the first defense that flinches will be the first team that pretty much blows it up.
I think it's going to be like the opposite thing around because I think whichever offense falters first, like the turnovers and like the special teams, I think it's going to be like whoever wins the turnover battle and whoever wins the time possession battle is going to win the game. So, and I've said this throughout. I said this divisional Sunday. I'm said this on championship Sunday, and I'll say it again for the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm basically based my decision checking everything out. I've kind of secretly pulled for Andy Reid, even though with the years that he was the head coach of Philly, they came so close a few times, trying to knock that door open to get that championship. Now he's in Kansas City, and he is just one win away from getting it. He has been known to blow the big one, but I don't believe he will. I believe Harrison Butker will kick the eventual game-winning field goal. I'd say within 3 or 4 minutes left in the game. And Cedric, I've got the exact same score you got, buddy. 34-31. I'm taking the Chiefs, and Mahomes will get MVP. But yes, I am keeping my eye for those stingy 49ers. I'm going with my heart. I'm going number 15 right here. Patrick
There you go.
Mahomes. First Super Bowl win in 50 years. Let's win it for Len Dawson. Let's win it for the Chiefs Kingdom. Let's win it for the second greatest voice in the NFL today, Mitch Holtis. And as he would say, it is the ultimate time to put the hammer down, baby. And we're still waiting for Will to return and give us his analysis. There he is. We obviously know who he's going to pick, but let's let him make his analysis.
Let the ultimate heel. Let the ultimate heel just relish in. See,
It looks like he's taking it a little bit of the bubbly.
Damn it, God, he got his jersey on. You know what's about to happen.
I'm only gonna say it's one time only. Kansas City deserves to be on the grand stage. But there's one thing that's going to cost them the Super Bowl. Kansas City is number one in the AFC for the most holding penalties that no one ever took a look at. And I think those penalties are going to hurt the Kansas City Chiefs defense. So with that said, this jersey is going to represent the Niners' 6th Super Bowl, and who I'm wearing is going to win MVP, Jimmy Garoppolo. So I'm going to say this one time only. For the Empire, for the quarterbacks behind us of Steve DeBerg and whoever else behind us, Joe Montana, Steve Young, Jeff Garcia, I forgot those other quarterbacks. We're going to skip on through to Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, to this man right here. Jimmy G is going to win MVP. Niners are winning, but I got a different score than Flynn. Sorry, John, I got a different score than you. We're going to go San Francisco 37, Kansas City 28. Robbie Gould put up some field goals, but your MVP is right here, Jimmy G. For the Empire, because we're not no goddamn nation. Niners will win by 9, and hallelujah, we'll be tied with Pittsburgh for 6 Super Bowls. And, yeah, the Patriots, too. But, yeah, there you go. That's it. Simple as that.
That's the way of putting it.
So, yeah,
And by the
Yeah.
way, that is a nice jersey you are wearing.
Thank you. Yes, right.
It's a nice jersey.
Even though we're wearing the white jerseys in the Super Bowl, this one stays on me. Sorry.
Yeah,
I got
and I believe this is only like the fourth time in the Super Bowl where the spread has been like less than 2 points, and that the first San Francisco Cincinnati Super Bowl where the 49ers were wearing the white jerseys was one of them.
Yes. Even though the league did not want us to have our 1995 throwbacks, they wanted to keep it simple. So the league is, as my brother would say, this ain't the National Football League. Here's your real NFL. It's the No Fun League. And
Yeah.
that's what it's turned out to be.
And today is the 25th anniversary of San Francisco winning its most recent championship.
Yep, that's the reason why.
That was about 25 years
There's a
ago.
lot of stuff.
Yeah,
There's a lot of stuff
and 50 years since Kansas City, so a Super Bowl drought is going to be broken on Sunday, and I think this is going to be one of those. This is going to be an epic game, and could you say that these were actually the two best teams in the NFL this year?
Yep.
Yeah, I can see it.
And these were the two best teams in the NFL. I can't wait. So we're all picking by 2 possessions, and the three of us picking our winners by a field goal. And I think it's gonna be one of those great Super Bowls. So I said 30-27, while both Shedrick and Tim say 34-31 in favor of City.
And I should let you know before we run on the air, our good friend Marty Bingle gave us his prediction. He says he's going with the 49ers by a score of 45-27.
Woo, I didn't see that.
Oh, wow.
I gotta look at the chat to look at that again.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to Bingo about that one.
Did you message Natalie for his prediction?
Actually, I did not. I don't think I saw Natalia online.
Mm-hmm.
But as soon as I'm sure he'll post it somewhere on the Discord or on the Facebook page. And speaking of so many years, would you believe it was 60 years ago this week that the NFL gave another new city a franchise?
Huh.
I'll give you one. I'll give you one clue.
I think I know what you're talking about. Yep. Yep. Tom Landry and the Cowboys.
Yep.
There was actually a time where the Giants had Vince Lombardi as the offensive coordinator and Tom Landry as the defensive coordinator at the same time.
I don't think so. But yes, it was 60 years ago that the franchise of the Dallas Cowboys was born. As they say, the rest is history. So let me ask you guys something. They got Demi Lovato performing the national anthem, and we're going to have Shakira and Jennifer Lopez performing halftime.
Yeah, they're wrapping up.
I have other plans during halftime because I never really got into Shakira. And I think J-Lo is okay. But if you ask me, they should have booked Kiss for halftime.
You know they're not going to do that. They don't do anything fun. Had Will's brother not say anything, no fun league. That's like asking for SpongeBob to play the freaking Sweet Victory. Well, we got sicko mode last year.
But do you remember every year for several years that they had and they picked a rock and roll band for like
Bruce
like
Springsteen, the E Street Band.
Springsteen's show was so good, and also remember Prince,
Prince, U2,
yes, you too,
The Who,
Rolling Stones,
The Who.
Yes.
I know it's
It was
Bob
great.
O'Reilly.
Madonna.
Yeah, and of course,
I think Cher somewhere in the past. Somewhere.
But
yeah, I think it was after after the when the Who performed that they changed it to like pop singers.
And thus the infamous Janet Jackson topless.
yeah,
Was,
So that's why they went to Paul McCartney the year after.
yeah. And if you ask me, my favorite halftime show was at Super Bowl 27, Cowboys versus Bills, Michael Jackson.
Yes.
oh yeah.
Yes.
And not only not only that, Garth Brooks sang the national anthem that year.
Yeah. Yeah, and also with speaking of national anthems, how can anybody forget the national anthem the late Whitney Houston sang in the
Oh, of course,
Giants
of
Buffalo
course.
Super Bowl in the 1990 season?
Yeah.
And
So,
boy, it was a glorious.
yeah. Hey, why don't we talk about that? Flynn, you got a favorite halftime show?
So my favorite halftime show. So my favorite was the Bruce Springsteen in '09.
Yeah, actually I have two favorites. I have Michael Jackson and U2 because that of course was a Super Bowl after 9/11, and that was really special.
I probably should.
Cedric, did you have a favorite?
My favorite halftime show would have to be. Basically, it was the. Yeah, it had to be the one with Michael Jackson. It was the one with Michael Jackson. Yeah, because I love the King of Pop. He was kicking it, and also Garth Brooks as well. And it also showed Dallas Cowboys stomping on the Bills, 52-17. That showed
Yeah,
promise.
And remember had it not been for Leon Lett, it would have been 59-17.
yeah,
And the Cowboys would have set the Super Bowl record for most points scored by a team in the Super Bowl.
right. And I just thought of another great halftime show. Do y'all remember Aerosmith, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly?
Um,
Look it up. It's on YouTube. You're gonna like it if you watch it.
what year was this?
Truthfully, I can't remember. Can't remember what it was, but it was like a whole collaborative effort. It was Aerosmith, NSYNC, Britney Spears, Mary J. Blige, and Nelly. That was an awesome performance right there. Hey, Will, you back?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about our favorite Super Bowl halftime shows. You got one?
Oh God.
Oh, I was Super Bowl.
Man, I mean, there is a lot of them. Don't get me wrong, but if I would have to pick one that really stood out, even though he is half Puerto Rican, but I'd have to do the one where I think it was Super Bowl 51 when Bruno Mars performed, because
Oh, yeah.
this is a singer that idolized Michael Jackson, did try to mimic some of his moves, and has paid a lot of tribute to Michael Jackson. And I think that's probably the only performance that, to me, that solidifies how not just a singer when you give out respect, but he has creation in his own talent. So I take Super Bowl 51, Bruno Mars.
All right.
It was actually Super Bowl 50 with Bruno Mars.
50?
Wait, so I remember weren't there a couple of didn't Beyonce do that as well? Didn't they have like the scene that it was still daylight out because
Like
the Super Bowl was at Levi Stadium.
Yeah, it was like Crazy in Love with Beyonce, and then Uptown Funk You Up with Bruno Mars. It was around that time.
Yeah.
That was in Super Bowl 50.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, it is going to be one heck of a game. Not just a game, but the whole event is a worldwide thing. And I have been saying this for many, many years. They should make Super Bowl Sunday a national holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We gotta
they
get that.
should.
Yeah, and I actually put a poll on my Instagram stories, so people are starting to make their votes for the Super Bowl. That 5 of them have voted so far. 3 of them are picking Kansas City. The other 2 are picking San Francisco.
Almost split.
Yes. So I think you're gonna see it. So basically, what you saw from the 4 of us today, that 2 of us picked Kansas City and 2 of us picked San Francisco.
There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a huge event. It's worldwide. And it's coming up this Sunday. And the pregame should be starting any second now.
It's
Yeah.
been starting since the Niners hoisted the NFC Championship trophy, so the George House trophy.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically that's true because they always extend these pregame shows. I think it's going to start like what 11 Eastern
I
Sunday
think
officially.
last year CBS started with that other pregame show at 11:30 with Adam Shine, Amy Trask, and Bart Scott, and all that. But I think Fox is starting that thing at 1 or 2. But it's usually quite lengthy.
Yeah.
Yeah, quite lengthy and
Yeah,
yeah, well,
and Joe Buck and Troy Aikman are calling the game for Fox.
Now listen to Troy Aikman. Joe Buck can eat a dick. Well, forgive me for my language.
Eggman was a better quarterback than he ever was a commentator. I'm
True that.
sorry.
True that. True that. Oh, poor man.
And speaking of commentators, I heard rumors that ESPN was going to offer Tony Romo a lucrative contract to jump from CBS.
Yeah. So I think Tony Romo works so well with Jim Nance on CBS.
Yeah.
He does pretty good, although they kind of broke up the old team of Jim Nance and Phil Simms because that's who I was so
Uh,
used to.
uh. And I think Phil Simms used to call games for NBC, I believe, with Dick Enberg.
I think so.
I think did Phil Simmons called, I think, the last Dallas Super Bowl, the Dallas Pittsburgh one, where Larry Brown had the 2 picks of Neil O'Donnell.
Right. Yeah. Well, unless anybody has anything else. Oh, by the way, before we go, Flynn, I understand that you recorded a special Hooked on Sports, but I understand you've got another one coming up tomorrow. Go ahead and talk to us about that.
So I'm actually gonna plan on dropping a podcast on Friday, which is all my Super Bowl analysis and preview. But how can we not be on here thinking about the tragedy that happened in Southern California on Sunday with the sudden passing of Kobe Bryant and his daughter Gigi Bryant and all the others that were on that plane, on the helicopter that crashed, in California on Sunday. And so, like,
Yeah.
I think when you look at it, I think Kobe Bryant's death, I think, is the biggest celebrity death that I think the world has encountered since at least Michael Jackson, if not John Lennon.
Right. I mean, it was just the way that Kobe not only impacted the sport of basketball, but basically pop culture.
Absolutely, and like so like I had this like these long remarks for Kobe Bryant, but I pretty much summed it up into 4 main statements. Number one, Kobe used his talents and abilities to help others. Number two, Kobe wanted to do life the right way and use the example of Jesus to teach us how to love one another. Number three, Kobe innovated the body, mind, and soul of a generation. And number four, Kobe Bryant transcended the human condition. Those were the four
Wow.
overarching statements that I think that I used to describe Kobe Bryant in my podcast.
Wow, that is very, very well said. I would have to agree 110% on that. But yeah, we are definitely going to miss
and,
him.
and, so like I was scrolling through my Instagrams and my social media that even the most casual sports fans are paying the tribute. That's not just diehards, just those that don't even have like as interested in the NBA as it was as other fans are. And heck, I was just at my first NBA game about a few days ago, and you could see how invested fans are into watching basketball and watching the stars, and it just showed throughout, and everything the NBA did with like all these 8 second backcourt violations and the 24-second shot clock violations to honor the numbers that Kobe Bryant wore during the first 10 years and the last 10 years of his illustrious career. I think it was just only right for him, for the league to honor him this way.
I thought that was a very, very cool and honorable thing for those players to do as well. I heard that Mark Cuban, the owner of the Mavericks, saying that they were going to retire the number 24. And I've heard a lot of other teams are going to do the same thing. And
I think they should, guys. Do you think would you say that Mark Cuban retiring number 24 from somebody who never played for the Mavericks, would you consider that an overreaction, or just that actually makes sense?
uh,
It's not an overreaction. It's showing tribute to respect to a player who personified himself that he could not do it as much as he did when he was injured, but he has played injured. He leaves behind a beautiful wife, other children, and I think what Mark Cuban is starting, I think other coaches and owners should take into perspective that Kobe Bryant was NBA. He didn't go to another team. He didn't back out of a contract. He didn't start anything that would want him to leave an organization like the Lakers. He stayed true to the team. So I say yes. Have every league owner say, hey, 24, this is the man. Why not?
Cedric, you got any thoughts on Kobe?
Yeah, it's kind of out of left field that what happened to him because at first when news hit that his plane crash, I was at my unit at the time. I was thinking like it was kind of fake news, like it's gonna slow down. And then all of a sudden, everything's popping up. I was like, well, Chautauqua. He leaves behind a very devastated wife, his other daughter, and many friends and family that known the man since his career. Boy, and when I saw Big Shaq crying like a when I saw Shaq crying like a mess, I was like, God, dog. Kobe will be dearly missed. They should retire his number because he put in the work. He put in the work in the Lakers and everywhere he went to. May he rest in peace, the true hoops of Jesus.
Yes, definitely. And so with that, I think we will wrap up this edition of the CTDF Fantasy Football Show. Super Bowl preview. Hope you enjoyed the game. Kickoff is about 5:30ish, give or take, on the Eastern,
So
6:30ish.
so
5:30
6:30 on
Central.
the East Coast.
There you go.
6:30 on the East Coast, 5:30 in the Central Time Zones. Hope you enjoy the game. We will be back next week to recap the Super Bowl and probably get into the future plans of our NFL teams going into the off season. We could probably talk about that. And we got the XFL starting up in a couple of weeks as well. So,
oh, Vinnie Mac, what he got cooking up?
well, we could probably save that for another time, but I want to thank my good friends John Flynn, Will Medina, Cedric Witherspoon Jr. Guys, hope you have fun out there watching the game because I know I'm going to have some fun. And for you
Oh, hell
guys,
yeah.
out there, thanks for joining us. Joy game, Super Bowl 54, Hard Rock Stadium, Miami, Florida. It's on.
Yes.
So for John Flynn, for Will Medina, for Cedric Weatherspoon Jr., my name is Timothy J. McClellan. Thanks for joining us. And as always, folks, be a good sport. See ya.